So it is a time of celebration actually. But however, because we will not have their association when they disappear, there will be definitely these feelings of separation and gratitude, and what we can learn from their life for our advancement in spiritual life. So when it comes to Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj, not very much is known about him, but still what we can do in this next 50 minutes will not be enough to describe him. So whatever little is there, but it is very significant. So we have a picture of Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj here and on the slides as well. So you see here our Guru Parampara. Any of you in the audience can name all of those? Maybe children can try. Starting with the first picture, who are they? I know you are not a child. I know you know it. Okay, yes, go ahead. Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. Okay, Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur. Yes, thank you, Haribol. It's very nice. Huh? So that's Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj, whose disappearance we are celebrating today. Generally in the Vedic tradition, even when we are performing oblations and rituals for our ancestors, they do for 5 generations. So on the altar also we worship 5 generations of acharyas. So this is the tradition. So now Gaura Kishora Das Babaji is there right in the middle, and I'll talk about the relationships. In our sampradaya, it's not always diksha relationship. Actually, the relationship between Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj, Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj is a shiksha relationship. And same thing between Bhaktivinoda Thakur Maharaj and Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Whereas Prabhupada and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur is diksha relationship, and same thing with Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur and Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. So it's not necessary that we only have diksha relationship on the altar, but shiksha relationships are also very significant. So this is the pranama mantra of Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. So some of you may already know it, but it's good to recite. We'll be reciting this later as well as part of Pushpanjali, but I'm going to say, and you can all repeat after me. Namo Gaura Kishoraya Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye Vipralambha Rasambhode Padambujayate Namaha. So here we are offering respects to Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. The Namo at the beginning and Namaha at the end, both are indicating we are offering respects. So initially the first Namo is offering to Gaura Kishoraya, but then there is also Padambujaya Te Namaha. I am offering my respects at your lotus feet. Ambuja means lotus, that which takes birth in water, and pada means his feet. Pada ambujaya te namaha. But whose pada? Vipralambha rasambhode. Lambha means to obtain. Labha, we say, isme mera kya labh hai? What do I gain from this one? Labh. Labh, lambha means to attain something. And vipralambha means to separate, separation. So Vipralamba Rasa Ambudhi. Ambudhi means ocean. Rasa means the mellow. So in the ocean of the mellow of separation, it literally means the ocean of the mellows of separation. But we are not offering respects to the oceans of the mellows of separation, but one who has this ocean of mellows of separation. And that person is Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. And we'll talk about that more in the subsequent slides. And second one is Sakshad Vairagya Murtaye. Sakshad Vairagya Murti. What does Murti mean? Don't say, oh, that's my friend's name. Murti means personification. Even the deity we call Murti, right? But Murti, personification of what? Vairagya. Raga means attachment. And Vairagya means detachment. Okay? Attachment leads to anger. When you are not attached, you are not angry. Right? If you are not attached to anything, what will you be angry about? Usually you are angry, okay, Asmita, my brother took my toy or whatever, you may get angry at him, but you are not attached to your toy. There's nothing to be angry about, right? So actually this detachment gives a sense of happiness. But of course I'll explain about this specific kind of detachment. Sakshad Vairagya Murti means he is the personification of detachment. And he is an ocean of mellows of separation. And his name is Gaura Kishora. That's his name. So now these two things, one is Vairagya and the second one is Vipralambha. This is what Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj's life represents, and whatever little we are going to discuss, it will be focusing on these two things. So some general details about Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. So it is said he appeared in 1838, and in some places his appearance day was not mentioned, in some places it was mentioned, and I didn't put it here because it was also November 17th. So his disappearance was on November 17th and the appearance was on November 17th. I was like, wow, that seems mysterious. So anyway, because it was not there in one place, another place, I didn't mention that one. And he appeared in a well-to-do Vaishya family. And he was doing the grain business. He would purchase the grain and then sell. That was the business he was doing. And he appeared in a village near Faridpur in Bangladesh, and about 200 kilometers from Sridham Mayapur. So it is not in India, it is in present-day country of Bangladesh. And he left this world on Utthana Ekadashi. This is the last Ekadashi in Kartik. So on November 17th, 1915, and he eternally entered into the pastimes of Sri Sri Radha Govinda. We say Nitya Leela Pravishta. He entered into the pastimes. So he was actually married at a very young age, as the tradition was at that time. And then when he was about 29 or 30 years old, his wife passed away. And he took that as an indication from Krishna to take the renounced order of life, and he accepted Babaji initiation from Bhagavad Das Babaji, and he is a disciple of Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. So if you go back here, let me get a pointer so that you can see properly. Okay, so here we have Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. He had a disciple, Bhagavad Das Babaji. And Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj was actually Bhagavad Das Babaji's disciple. But however, he took Shiksha from Bhakti Vinod. He had much more association, and therefore that's why we see like this on the altar. So then after he took Babaji initiation, he lived for about 30 years in Vrindavan. That's a long time, 3 decades in Vrindavan. And as was the tradition, the great renounced saints, they don't live in big opulent houses. So he was living just under different trees. And Vrindavan has so many Leela Sthalis where Krishna has performed so many pastimes. Everything in Vrindavan is so auspicious. Even a leaf, a particle of dust, a bird, whatever it may be in Vrindavan, they are all very, very special souls. So he would live anywhere in Vrindavan, and some places I have up here, Giri Govardhan, Nandagram, Varsana, Radhakunda, Suryakunda, Raval, Gokula, and I'm sure many of you have visited these holy places. And these holy places were walked. Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj has walked all this Vrindavan. Many saintly people also did that for decades and centuries. And he would just sit in seclusion and chant 200,000 names of Krishna. That is 128 rounds of japa. Does everyone here know what is a round of japa? What does one round of japa mean? Everybody knows here? Anyone who doesn't know what is the meaning of one round of japa? Okay, everyone knows. So we have a string of 108 beats, and each beat the entire Mahamantra you chant. And one round will be 1728 holy names. And he was chanting to about 200,000, actually it would come to 221,000 something. So that is equal to 128 rounds of japa. So what Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj does in 4 days, we do it in 1 month. To have a comparison. What we do in 4 rounds, 16 rounds for 4, what we do for 1 month, he'll just finish in 4 days. So this is Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. And he always felt real painful separation from Krishna and cried in that separation. It may seem strange for us, oh, why are you crying? Because in the material world, crying means you have a problem. But there's also something called tears of joy. Tears of joy have different characteristics. Will they be warm or cold? Cold? Warm? Next time you have it, you can test. I will not answer. Suspense. There's a difference. So he was always crying in separation like that. And when he was in, Varsana is the place, Radharani's place. And he would string garlands for Radha and Krishna every day. We think generally stringing garland only Matajis have to do. Of course, because they are not allowed to do some other services, so my Guru Maharaj says they have monopoly on that one, you cannot do anything, particularly in Vrindavan and in some places. So Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj, he used to make garlands for Radha and Krishna. And when he was wandering in the 12 forests of Vrindavan, he would loudly chant these holy names. And he would sing a particular song. Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. And this song is in Bengali. Anyone here knows Bengali? No Bengalis here? Okay. All right. So this is the bhajan he used to sing. Kota gyo prema mai radhe radhe. Like in the Jayanilo Premadana, also you have these, some of these words you will see over there as well. He's saying, where are you? Oh, prema mai, full embodiment of ecstatic love, Radharani, where are you? All glories to you, Radharani, where are you? If I don't see you, I cannot keep my life. And in this way, he would be just looking for Radharani everywhere, searching for Radharani. And now, what does this mood remind you of? In this here, you can see the translation. Oh Radhe, Radhe, where are you? O goddess of ecstatic love. O Radhe, Radhe, all glories to you, O Radhe, Radhe. O Radhe, Radhe, please show yourself to me and thereby maintain my life. Your most despicable fallen servant calls out to you, O Radhe, Radhe. So in this way, he is always looking for Radhe, Radharani. He is looking for Krishna. What does this remind you of? Lord Chaitanya, very nice. What else? Narottam Das Thakur. There's a very famous bhajan that if I tell you, oh yeah, I know that. Shed Goswami Astaka. He Radhe Vraja Devi Ke Chalalite He Nanda Suno Kuta Shri Govardhana Kalpa Pada Patale Kalindi Vane Kuta Goshantaviti Sarvato Vrajapure Kedhair Mahavihvalau Vande Rupa Sanatanau Raghuyugau Shri Jiva Gopalakau. So this is an ashtakam written by Srila Srinivasacarya, glorifying the 6 Goswamis, describing the life of 6 Goswamis. And they are doing the exact same thing. Hey Radhe, hey Vrajadevike, the queen of Vraja, Lalita Sakhi is the foremost assistant of Srimati Radharani. Hey Nandasuna, means O son of Nanda Maharaj, Kutaha, where are you? Shri Govardhana Kalpa Pada Patale. Shri Govardhana Kalpa Padapa Tale. Kalpa, like in Kalpa Vriksha. Padapa means a tree. Now a tree drinks water through its feet. Right? It's standing, the roots are down. So it is drinking water using its feet. Therefore it's called Padapa. Kalpa Padapa is Kalpa Vriksha. So Govardhana Kalpa Padapatale Kalindi Vane. Are you at the banks of the Yamuna river, at the forest, on the banks of Yamuna, and under the trees of Kalpa Vriksha situated at Govardhana hill? Are you there? Where are you? In this way, Ghoshantav, loudly calling out, Sarvataha, everywhere. This is what Goswamis were doing in Rajapuri. Khedai Mahavihvalau. So much distress and agitation in separation of Krishna. This is called Vipralambha. And this is exactly what Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj was doing. He was a personification. He had this mood of Sri Rupa Raghunatha. Rupa Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, that's the mood he was always carrying. And he was also searching. And Srila Prabhupada says, actually the Goswamis never claimed they have seen Radha Krishna. They have been, all their life they were searching for Radha Krishna. Now this may seem a little strange. What does it mean by searching for Radha Krishna? So this is called devotion in separation. And this is the highest form of bhakti. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanaya Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Ya Kalpita. So he said, Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanaya. Our goal is to worship Sri Krishna. Who is that Krishna? Is Krishna in Dwaraka? Krishna on the battlefield of Kurukshetra? No. Vrajesha Tanaya. The son of Nanda Maharaj. That's the person we are worshipping. Aradhyo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanaya. Tadhama Vrindavanam. We also worship Sri Vrindavan Dham. Gaura Kishora Das Babaji manifested this, worshipping of Krishna, worshipping of Vrindavan Dham. And then Ramya Kachid Upasana Vrajavadu Vargena Yakalpita. The mood of worship that was manifested by the gopis of Vrindavan. And this is the highest form of worship that Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj was following in the footsteps of the devotion exhibited by the gopis, which is without any tinge of selfish motives. Complete sacrifice of every possible thing that we may be attached to in this material world. Attached to nothing, including their own identity, their own pride of who they are. No social prestige or anything. They gave up everything for the service of the Lord. And this is the type of worship that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted. And he came to establish that. Ramya kachid upasana vrajavadu vargena ya kalpita Srimad Bhagavatam pramanam amalam prema pumarto mahan. And our scripture is Srimad Bhagavatam. And we'll see how Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj took shelter of Bhagavatam as well. Prema pumarto mahan. The ultimate goal, we say there are 4 purusharthas. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. But we reject these things. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rejected this dharma, artha, kama, moksha. There is panchama purushartha, the 5th purpose, the goal of human life. That is prema, that is love of Krishna. And this is what Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj, so he was exhibiting everything that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to give. And in this mood, he was, this is the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission. And you can see how Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was manifesting this mood. And the mood of the 6 Goswamis and the Vipralamba Bhava. So that is the Vipralamba Rasambhode. This is the meaning of who Gaura Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is in that mood. And the second one is his mood of renunciation, Vairagya. Okay. So when Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj was living in Vrindavan, he would even sometimes eat the mud from Radha Kunda. Now, if we are eating, we get a little piece of dirt in or a little stone or something, like we're like, right? We don't want anything. But everything in Vrindavan is so sacred. So he would just eat from Madhukari. Madhukari means the profession of a bee. Madhu means bee. What does a bee do? Where does bee go to eat? Govindas? Where does the bee go to eat? Where does bee get its food? From flowers. And does it have just one flower? No, it goes to different flowers and take the honey. So Madhukari means you go to different houses, just like the flowers, the nectar, flowers have the nectar, you go to devotees' homes, not for anybody, those who have bhakti for the Lord, and in their homes you just collect whatever little you can, not more than 7 homes, 1 home, 1 to 7 homes, and then you just take it. And this is what he was doing. And one time when he was in Vrindavan, he was specifically, he would just beg from these families of sweepers. They're called bhangi. And they're not considered to be very higher class in the social status. And somebody said, why are you taking from their houses? You should take from brahmanas and there's very high class people. And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj very humbly said, the dust of Vrindavan is so glorious. See, even in Vrindavan, we may not see the glory of the holy places, but the dust of Vrindavan will continue to give us mercy. Therefore, the dust of Vrindavan is very important. And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj had such faith in this dust of Vrindavan. He said, they are cleaning Vrindavan. They are always soaked in the dust of Vrindavan. And these are the greatest devotees. And I want prasadam from their house. And this is the vision of Gaur Kishore. He did not have this mundane vision of who is, social greatness and all these things. He could see through the devotion of people. He's not attached to anything materially. And this vairagya of detaching everything from the material world and seeing everything through spiritual perspective. And Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is a personification, Sakshad Vairagya Murti. And then he also saw all the Vrajabasis as direct associates of Radha and Krishna. So therefore he will always see with the mood of devotion everything in Vrindavan. A cow, any other animals, birds, trees, creepers, insects, anything in the holy dham. He will see them with the mood of devotion. And when we go to Vrindavan also, this should be our mood. We should not just see everything with material vision. And we should not get into fights and arguments with people. We should be a little careful on how we deal with people who are living in Vrajabhumi. At the same time, of course, we should be careful. We should go with somebody who knows Vrindavan. And then, after that, after living in Vrindavan for almost 30 years, then he was inspired by the divine couple Sri Radha Krishna to move to Navadvip. Now, why he moved to Navadvip, I heard a couple of things from devotees. His Holiness Radhanath Swami explains that Gaur Kishora Das Babaji was very humble. He felt he's not qualified. And he needed mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he thought he is very offensive to Vrindavan Dham. I mean, you could see he had so much respect even for the dust of Vrindavan. But he felt he was like, maybe I'm very proud. I'm not qualified to be here in Vrindavan. Then what should I do to associate with Radha Krishna? But Mahaprabhu is very merciful. Namo Mahavadanyaya. There's no one more merciful than Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Even if you go to Mayapur and sleep, he thinks, he's a great devotee, he's doing Dandavat Pranam. This is what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will think. So he's so merciful. So let me go to Mayapur, because in Mayapur, Mahaprabhu will not see any offenses, so I am such a fallen soul, so I'll go there so that I can get Krishna Prema. And another thing I heard is, Gaur Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj, now this is Kartik month, we recite Namamishwaram, we see how Yashoda Maya is chasing Krishna with a stick and she's binding him down. You are like, why is Mother Yashoda so mean to Krishna? I will go to Mayapur. Shashi Mata is so nice. She will not beat Nimai. So I will go to Mayapur. So this is also one thing I heard. So anyway, we can just take it that he was inspired to go there because there's bigger plan. There's a bigger plan. This mission would not have happened without Gaur Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj going to Mayapur. And we'll talk about that in a very soon. So, and he used to just wear for clothing. I mean, we work so hard for clothing. You have to press the clothing, put on the clothes, and matching pants and shirts, and matching whatever we are putting on our bodies, and what Gaur Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj used to wear. He used to wear discarded clothes. Sometimes people, when they take the corpse and then burn them, and they put some cloth on them and there'll be discarded cloth on the banks of Yamuna, he would just grab a piece of discarded cloth and then just he would put as loin cloth, and that's what his clothing. And when he was in Navadvip on the bank of Ganges, Yamuna in Vrindavan, Ganga in Mayapur. And for food, he would just eat parched rice, sometimes he wouldn't eat at all. Every Ekadashi is Nirjala Ekadashi for him. And sometimes even not Ekadashis can also be Nirjala Ekadashis. And one day, he called his assistant. I mean, he's such an exalted soul. So many people wanted his association, but he would be very careful. He knows what's in our hearts. I mean, when I think of him, I feel terrified that if I stand in front of him, I'll be shivering because he can see through my heart, my anarthas. Because he could just see through you. And he would just give his association very selectively to people who are very sincere. And if someone will persist, he will give them some instruction that people will be running away that I don't want to follow this instruction. So anyway, so he said, he told his servant, hey Prabhu, tomorrow is, we have a festival, we'll have a big feast. Oh, what festival? Tomorrow is, Sanatana Goswami's disappearance, we're going to have a big festival. Oh, sure, okay. And then the next day is the festival, got up in the morning, he says, so, Maharaji, when does the festival begin? Are we going to have a big feast? Yes. What do we do? Sit down and chant, and many hours are coming. When is the feast? He said, chant. And after the whole day, chant, when is this is the feast. chanting the holy names, and today is this, nothing else to do, celebration, happiness. A servant is going, what's going on here? Right? So he would just chanting the holy names, every single holy name for him was such relishing. And like, when will I complete my 16 rounds, right? But Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj, he was in so much ecstasy that there will be always, his eyes would be wet with tears, because there is so much happiness in the holy names. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Nam Nam Akari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shakti. In every holy name, complete potencies. Holy name and Krishna are not different. Abhinnatvam Nama Namino. There is no difference. So he is seeing Krishna in the holy name. And we are seeing time in the holy name. When is this going to finish? But that is the mood of Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. And he used to relish these two books. Actually, Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada says he was an illiterate. But he carried two books, Prarthana and Prema Bhakti Chandrika. These are books written by Srila Narottam Das Thakur. So my guess is probably he may little bit how to kind of read, not how to write and all those. Maybe he could just figure out a little bit the fact that he was carrying these books. And the book Prarthana, like the bhajan Gauranga Bolite Habe, Pulaka Sharir. And in that book, Prarthana Kore Narottama Das, it will come at the end. So the word Prarthana will be there in that bhajan, in Gauranga Bolite. And in Prema Bhakti Chandrika, the Guru Puja song we sing every day. Prema Bhakti Jaha Hoite Abhidya Vinasha Jate. So it is Prema Bhakti, and the book name is Prema Bhakti Chandrika. So this song. So these are very famous songs, and he used to carry. And when you look at those songs, the entire essence of the Vedic literature is there in those songs. Srila Prabhupada says, Narottama Das Thakur's bhajans are not different from Vedas. You can just recite those bhajans and get the essence of Vedas. And that's what actually the bhajans are, because they condense the essence of the Vedas through their feelings and express in the form of poetry. And these books, Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj used to carry with him. And he was so renounced, he used to sometimes to avoid the association of materialistic people, because Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj was so exalted, and people wanted to go to him. Why? Because I go to Swamiji and I get some benedictions. And they would bother him. They would not be sincere, they would not go for spiritual advancement. We must know what we are doing. Why are we going to temple? We need to understand why we are going. The ultimate goal of life is to be happy. But that happiness can be only found when we are connected fully with Krishna. So we come to temple to awaken our love for Krishna, to re-establish our connection with Krishna, and then to take that connection back to our homes, to our workplaces, and continue that connection by chanting His holy names, by hearing Krishna Katha. And when we go to saintly persons, it is to increase that devotion, to ask them tips and techniques. Like we go to doctor, we have a disease. We have a doctor sitting in the back. How can I be cured from this disease? So we have this material bhavaroga. We go to pure devotees to be healed from this bhavaroga. How can I be healed from this materialistic anarthas? But people would go just to seek more material entanglement. I want this, I want that. So Babaji would stay away from them. And for some period he was just living in the toilets. And when I say toilet, you may think it's not bad, because in America, toilet means you sit there, you have magazines in toilet, you're watching the magazines, you're reading the magazines, and I heard sometimes ladies sit on the toilet and put on their makeup, close the toilets. So we may not feel what's wrong living in a toilet, living in America. But if you want to know what it feels like in toilet, go to India, travel in a train, and specifically go in a third-class compartment. You want to get out in 10 seconds or 5 seconds. So, when Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj felt the materialistic anarthas in people's hearts were so stinking that he couldn't stand them, rather he would be in seclusion in a toilet and stay away from them. That is his level of renunciation. Because he wanted to be focused on Krishna and not be bothered. And he would say, if you are too much attached to bhojana, your bhajana will be suffering. Means if you are too much attached to eating all kinds of food, because tongue is the main thing, that is the source of fall down. If we cannot control our tongue, it's very important to eat only Krishna prasadam. Otherwise, tongue will destroy us. And when we say Krishna prasadam, it is food offered to Krishna with love and devotion. Krishna will eat only if there is love. Bhaktyamam prayachati tadashnami bhaktyupahritam. He says 2 times bhakti. In Bhagavad Gita, in the verse related to offering food, he says 2 times bhakti. When you offer with bhakti, I will eat that which is offered with bhakti. And Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj was very specific on that one. Somebody would say, oh, I brought prasadam. Where did you bring from that one? Oh, I brought from this person. He offered to Krishna. He says, no. When he offered, Krishna will not eat. Because that person offers with materialistic motive. He'll offer what I should eat today and all this planning and everything. He's so materialistic. And he'll be so much meditating on what we'll be offering, not thinking that Krishna will eat, but he will eat, so I will not take that. Gaura Kishora Das Babaji would say like that. So when we read these things, it emphasizes that we should cultivate proper mood. So when we say he is detached, he was actually attached to Krishna. That is the truth. This is called Yukta Vairagya. Means the detachment of union to Krishna. You are detached, but you are attached to Krishna. It has to be, you are detached to anything that is not related to Krishna. Nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yukta vairagya muchyate. Those things that can be used in the service of Krishna, when they are properly used in the service of Krishna, then you can accept them. And he had absolutely no desire to accept disciples. But he was Guru of who? Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, who he was the only disciple. He had only one disciple, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur established 64 mathas in India. And he sent disciples to Europe, Germany, to London, Germany, and later Srila Prabhupada took the mission, and he is the one who continued. And Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj invested that Krishna Prema, Vipralamba Bhava, that pure Krishna Bhakti into Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur imparted that into the heart of Srila Prabhupada. And that's what is coming to us. And he also studied Srimad Bhagavatam under Bhakti Vinod Thakur. So I said Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given these things. Srimad Bhagavatam also he was reading. So that is how he was connected with Bhakti Vinod Thakur Maharaj, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur Maharaj was his Shiksha Guru. So even though he was illiterate in a sense, his comprehensions, you ask him any question, he would answer perfectly. That is called proper understanding of the scriptures. So I'll stop here. There's so much I can talk, because in few minutes we'll be done. Any quick questions, comments? We have 3 minutes. Anyone want to share anything that is in your heart today while you're meditating on Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj? What was in your heart today when you were thinking of him? Saraswati Mataji. Can anyone, 1 second. 1 second, Mataji, I'm going to give you a microphone. It's already turned on, so you can pass on.
Hare Krishna, wonderful class, Prabhuji. As you just mentioned, when I was reading and praying today, I was inspired and was praying to imbibe the mood of renunciation and the love for the holy name. You know, that constantly we see so much love for the holy name.
Yes.
So that was very inspiring, but you elaborated it more nicely.
Yeah, so we can pray for that today.
Yeah,
we can
that
pray
we
for
develop
taste.
that taste for the holy name.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. It's very nice. Anyone else would like to share anything? No? Okay, I can tell one more pastime. We have, how long do we have? 2 minutes. So when actually Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur went to Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj for initiation, Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj didn't want to give because he felt unqualified. He was so humble. But in order to avoid, he just said, initially he said, oh, you are such a great scholar. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, at a very young age, he was so scholarly. He was offered the position of Vice Chancellor of Calcutta University. At 11 years old, he knew entire Bhagavad Gita, like through memory. If he hears anything one time, he would just you get it, that's it. And he said, you are a son of a great man, and you yourself are so great. Why do you want initiation from me? I am useless. He says, no. You are an ocean of devotion for Krishna. Please give me initiation. He said, no, okay, I'll ask Mahaprabhu, you come tomorrow. And then he went next day, says, Maharaji, can you give me initiation? He said, no, I haven't, some other time. He said, no, you said you'll ask Mahaprabhu. Did you ask? He said, actually I forgot to ask. Forgot to ask Mahaprabhu. Some other time you come. And then he just avoided. But Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj persisted because he genuinely felt this person has true Krishna Bhakti. And even though he was such a great scholar, he was feeling empty in his heart. Without taking shelter of the Mahatmas, without taking the dust from the lotus feet of great devotees, bhakti will not come. So then he went again and he said, if you don't give me initiation, I don't have hope in life. I'll just drown in Ganga and die. And then Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj saw this sincerity and then he gave him initiation. And you can see the mood of such a great person as Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. And the mood of great person is Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj. So we can pray for humility also. For humility, for detachment. Actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give this. Vairagya Vidya Nijabhakti Yogam. Shikshartham Ekam Purusha Purana. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give this Vairagya Vidya Nijabhakti Yogam. There's a book called Renunciation of Wisdom. Renunciation through wisdom. Bhaktacharya Swami put together Prabhupada's instructions. So that renunciation, Vairagya through the Vidya that comes from the bhakti of the Lord. And that's what Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj represents. So I'll stop here. Thank you very much all of you for your kind attention. Srila Gaura Kishora Das Babaji Maharaj ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you, Prabhu, for wonderful class today. We'll do Pushpanjali and Aarti now. And we also want to thank today's sponsor, Shesa and Kshitiz, Sridham and Shubha Kapoor, and Harivalla Prabhu and Rangagni Pukla Mataji. Thank you so much.
ओम अज्ञान त्रिमिनन्दस्य ज्ञानाञ्जन शलाकया चक्षुरुं मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरुवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्य मनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपं कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरो श्रीयुतः पदकमलं श्रीगुरुं वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजना सहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सगना ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च नमामि विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे। नमामि विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिसिद्धान्त सरस्वती इति नामिने। श्रीवर्षभानुवी देवी दायिताय कृपाब्दये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दायिने प्रभवे नमः। माधुरोज्ज्वल प्रेमाढ्य श्रीरूपा नुगभक्तिदा श्री गौरा करुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते। नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दीनतारिणे रूपानुग विरुद्ध अपसिद्धांत द्वन्द्वहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षात् वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसाम्बोधे पदाम्बुजाय ते नमः। नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगवराय ते गौर आविर्भावभूमेस्त्वं निर्दिष्टसज्जनः प्रिया वैष्णवा सर्वभौमश्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः। नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नामिने गौरक्ष्मे नमः। पंचतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपं स्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्त्याख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकं। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत